Did I just mess it up?
It's your Wi-Fi, I think.
I just turned it off. We're good?
Bingo, we're good. Can you hear me okay?
Sweet. Yes.
Awesome. I've had some technical difficulties with my audio in recent lives, so I want to make sure that you're good to go.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. Good morning. Happy Thursday. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm good. I'm like dressed, which is more than I can say for most mornings.
I did my hair, took a shower, I put on a
I
polo
know.
shirt.
The
We're
sad
doing
thing is
big
I
things.
get complimented if I'm just clean. Like at this point, it's like, wow, you look
Yeah.
so good. And it's like, oh, I'm just clean. I showered. But
Yeah.
thanks.
I just took a shower and I did my hair. This is
Exactly.
literally like the best you're gonna get from me in this time.
Honestly. I'm ready.
Talk to me a little bit about what shelter in place is like over in the Safford household up there in Orange County.
So selfishly, I'm kind of really loving it. Just for the uninterrupted family time. So I
Yeah.
have 3 kids.
Oh,
I
wow.
have a 5-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 1-year-old son.
God bless
And
you.
so it's like
Three
we're in the
kids.
thick of it, 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been working so much that I haven't really been home that much during the day. So it's been just a nice change of pace in that regard.
Yeah.
As long as it's sunny out, we all keep our sanity. I noticed they start to just get absolutely insane when it's raining and we're stuck inside. And,
Yes.
you know, only the older one understands like that she's not able to see her friends or go to school. And so whatever,
Yeah.
but it's been better than I anticipated. Like I definitely pictured like Jurassic Park, but it hasn't gotten that level yet. Thank God.
I feel like, because I have a 3-month-old son, and I feel like this is, I gotta be, I'm a little bit selfish, but I feel like this is a really easy time. And of course my wife does like all the heavy lifting and stuff like that, but he doesn't do much, right? He just
No.
kind of like rolls around and eats and sleeps. But anybody with kids like 1 to 10 right now, I really, like, good for you. God bless you,
And I
because
feel like 5, like we're finally at that sweet spot where she can do a lot for herself,
yeah,
which is great. And like, you know, I was kind of super nuts with sleep training and potty training. So the older two, like we're like, that's all good. Nothing's
Yeah.
too crazy. And they play with each other.
yeah,
There's
see, they can
so
help each
much
other
to be
out.
said for that, because
Yeah.
I have friends and family who have one child that like you're their sole source of entertainment.
That's
And
it.
I can't handle that.
They're tugging on your leg all the time. They want your attention.
So much attention. But 3 months, oh my gosh, a dream. Like 0 to 3 months is, I mean, so much, especially for the mom. I mean, and for everybody, it's a new norm. Like I'm sure you had moments where you're like, I can't help with this. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? You just kind of watch your wife be stressed out and sad. But 3 months, I mean, you're kind of in that window where like things start to get so much more normal. There's a schedule and, you know, able to sleep longer, and they start to be so much more fun.
Yeah. Good. So
best.
you're not going crazy. You're not pulling your hair out.
No,
Things
not
are,
yet.
not yet. Things are seeming to be going good. Talk to me a little bit about your business. Like, for anybody who's following, I saw a lot of my followers commenting already that may not know who you are. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then how your business has changed here with the shelter in place going on.
Sure. So my name is Ria. Again, I'm the owner of RíOrganize, and we're a luxury home organization company based out of Orange County, California. I started this bad boy March of 2016.
Wow.
So 4 years now, which seems crazy.
Yeah.
That seems so crazy that it's been that long. And I told you a little bit before, but I was actually in commercial real estate.
That's right.
In Houston before doing this.
Okay.
So I started as a marketing assistant for the office brokers, and I was an executive assistant for 2 office brokers. And I was like, oh my gosh, these people are making so much money. This is insane. I want in on this. So then I got my license, and then I joined an industrial team, did that for a year. But during that time I had my daughter, and I couldn't do the corporate thing. It didn't work for me. Leaving my daughter at daycare 10 hours a day, it just really made me sad. Yeah. So we ended up moving from Houston back to California, where I'm from. My husband's from Dallas. I'm from here. And that's when I started RíOrganize. I had already had this idea, like just after college in 2012, but I mean, I wasn't just gonna like start a business out of college. Like I was not mature enough or anything for that. So it was just kind of this perfect transition and window to start this out. And I always love sharing that I was not always an organized person. And I feel like that's so important to know because so many people are so intimidated by organization.
Yeah.
And they feel like, oh, like I just wasn't wired that way or I wasn't born that way. Like it's just whatever. Like it's not going to be for me. When I was that person, like some of my college roommates laughed when they saw what I was starting to do because I was that person like, oh my gosh, we're having people over, everything in my closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a totally learned thing for me. Like I've always been good with space. I've always been creative, but it was more, I never prioritized that in my life. And I mean, as you know, once you're married and like, there's all that other stuff that you're like, oh, okay, now we've just doubled in stuff. And then once you have a kid, I mean, even a 3-month-old, like how much stuff is there?
It's taken up a whole room already. And we're in a condo downtown. There's not a lot of space. Like it's crazy.
It's insane. And it only duplicates and it only gets bigger and clunkier and can't break down. And you're just like, oh my gosh. So if you have a handle on that, it makes everything so much easier. And I think me learning that myself made me even more confident in starting RíOrganize and that I could really help other people and help them, you know, learn the things that I learned and, you know, do the things that I've been doing that have been really helpful. Yeah. So I started, sorry, I can go on tangents. So just like really
you just go, like, you just run. Yeah, I'll let you go.
I started March of 2016. And by started, I mean, like, it's just all of a sudden, like I have a business name and I'm like, here we go.
I mean, that's how it works, right? We can just register a business name and start an Instagram page and a Facebook, and now we have a business.
So
but
crazy.
Right.
And you have this, I mean, I don't know if you can relate, but I had this complex of like, literally just one day I was a professional at something.
Yeah.
And I almost like, I had that whole imposter syndrome of like, you know, am I like, I feel like now I'm charging people for this. Like, you know, what am I like? I feel like I should have had to like do a lot more things to be able to get to this point. And even though I know that I was good at it, it was still weird for me to just literally just one day I go from like, oh, like I'm a mom at home. And then the next day I'm like, I'm a professional organizer. How can I help you? And, you know, obviously the more clients and the more, you know, projects under my belt, like, you know, now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I can confidently say so many things, but it was definitely a weird adjustment at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was just my side hustle for my target money. So that you know, my husband felt like I was contributing enough and like, no big deal. I really didn't anticipate where it has gone. It just, you know, word of mouth got so big and project scale started to get so much bigger. And my husband's like, let's start a team. He's like, bring girls on. We would have such a quicker turnaround. You can offer so many different types of services. And then it just evolved and something in me switched like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this. Oh my gosh, I want to be the best at this. Like I'm just competitive in general, like to a fault. It's a problem.
I was going to say a lot of this sounds like you had this innately, like in you, like this, you had that in you to already become to where you are in business. You just kind of had to unlock it through RíOrganize.
I guess so. Like never, I mean, my whole life I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, which I know is, I mean, still way harder than what I'm doing now. And that's all I wanted to do. That's all I ever wrote down. That's all I ever talked about. I never pictured myself like business girl, running a business, having employees, having a payroll, like never. And I just became obsessed with it. Like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And not just from like the business making money side, but I'm really making a difference. Like when my clients cry from their results, that's everything. That 100%. Is literally everything. And to be helping other families, it's just been seriously the best. So RíOrganize, as people see it now, I say really originated in the beginning of 2018. That's when I started, you know, bringing on a team. That's when I launched a new website and just took everything, you know, as seriously and as next level as I could.
Is your business primarily done through Instagram, or is at least the word of mouth portion of it through Instagram?
So it probably took like 2 years. I want to say 2 years. So it was probably just after the new website launch where I started to get leads from Instagram.
Okay.
And I remember my first lead from Instagram was for like this super entrepreneur CEO, runs all these different beauty companies. And I was just like, hi, like, how'd you find out about us? He's like, oh, my assistant found you on Instagram. And my head was like,
wild.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like I never thought it was kind of like just a way to have, you know, an easy access portfolio for me of like, hey, here's my work, whatever. And I did always take Instagram seriously. Like my brother still jokes about how when I got started, like he would tell his other friends to like, please go like his sister's post because he felt so bad for me. He was like, you would post like you had 1 million followers and I had like 30 or 50, but he's like, you just kept going. And I think
Yes.
consistency was everything,
100%.
but it wasn't a lead generator. I mean, word of mouth, especially, you know, in mom groups and everything, it's just wildfire. And then once I started to get more leads, I really started to pay closer attention to Instagram and made it a point to get myself in front of the camera more because this is the most vulnerable thing anybody could be doing. I mean, we're in your space,
Right.
Everything. I mean, there is no hidden anything. I mean, unless you're hiding something before we get there, we see it all. Like
Yeah.
we're in your underwear drawer, we're everywhere. And there is such a huge trust factor. You know, and for people to feel like they know you is so important. And so I really made that a priority as well. And I feel like, you know, like I love just being at Container Store and people will come up to like, probably, oh my God, I'm following you on Instagram. Like the first couple of times that happened, I mean, I don't even know how my head fit out the door. I was like,
Yeah.
so cool. But just the fact that I've, you know, presented myself in a way that people know I'm approachable. And I feel like there's just that connection. And it's cool that you can make that connection just from a platform like Instagram. You
Totally,
know, even
100%.
before talking to you, what do I have to learn about you? I look at your Instagram.
For sure.
And it's just the way that you presented yourself. Just like, wow, he just seems so sweet.
Oh,
So nice. He just seems funny. And like, you just seem really easy to talk to. And not everybody can come across that way. It could be like, oh, this might be awkward or I don't know. But I like wasn't even worried because you've put forward that person. Who I'm sure is you, not like a fake person.
Yeah, no, it's all me. It's all me right here in the square. No, I really appreciate it. And I think a lot of that has to go with the fact that whether or not you're using Instagram or social media to generate leads per se, your clients are validating you there, right? And so whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not, when someone does get a referral that says, hey, you should talk to Ria Safford, they're going on Instagram to check 100%. You out. Whether or not they initially sourced from there, that's what they're doing is they're validating you via your social media profile so that the content you put out becomes kind of like your business card or your calling card. So, and I want to, without focusing too much on the business side of it, you grew your following really quick. I mean, within a couple of years or, you know, you said 2018 or something, and now you're close to 200,000 followers and you have great engagement. You have a lot of likes. You get into the comments and the trenches and you're talking to your clients and the people as they comment. Tell me about that process. Like what is managing? I got to anticipate that you either have a social media manager at this point or you're spending a lot of time doing that. What does that look like for you on a daily basis?
So I had, okay, just to be able to like explain the growth.
Yeah.
I had just under 2,000 followers before launching the new website.
In 2018?
In 2018.
Okay.
And by the end of 2018, I think we were at 80,000.
Wow. So initially, that's a huge bump.
Totally huge bump. And I mean, so obviously, I mean, from the beginning, like you have to just keep doing the work, right? Like every single day. But you're always going to eventually catch a break. And what does my Papa say? He says, hold on till you hit a lick. Eventually, you're going to hit a lick. And mine was Jen Atkin, who, I mean, I swear, I just like attribute everything to this woman. She reached out to me. And so if you don't know who she is, she's a celebrity hairstylist. She also owns 2 companies. She, you know, became known for being the Kardashians' hairstylist. And now she's just this like mogul hair amazingness.
Got it.
So, and I wasn't familiar with her when she had reached out. So like that was even cooler and more exciting for me. And I had probably delivered my son 10 hours before I received an email asking if I could come and do her spaces in her new home.
Wow.
And
so you were in the hospital bed.
Oh, I'm in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sitting there. And I was like, I just had this feeling. I'm like, this is really important.
Yes.
I can tell, whatever. So I was like, yep, you got it. And I did that project 2.5 weeks postpartum, which was insane. Like probably still wearing mesh panties. Like it was pretty,
I was gonna say, I was
you
trying
know
to
exactly
envision
what I'm talking about.
My wife 2.5 weeks postpartum, she was probably not organizing houses at that point.
Yeah, no. And I think that it definitely has to do with it being number 3. Like my first, no way.
Yeah.
I don't even think I saw sun for 2 months.
Right.
But it was my third, and I just knew that that was going to be huge. And I think I had like 32,000 followers. No, 22,000 followers before doing that project.
Got it.
And
so that was the lick.
That was yes. And that was huge. Then it was, and what's, I think the biggest thing that I learned, because going like at the beginning, you see people doing collaborations and working for people. So I would reach out to, and I had like no followers, like, maybe like 1,500 or 2,000. And I reached out to like little mommy bloggers in my area who I was like, hey, like I thought I had to work for free for people.
Yep.
And like they would send me these rates and like want me to do free work plus pay for all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, no, like not happening. Like where I used to think like I had to do that. And I just started saying no. And eventually it was just saying yes to the right people.
100%.
And the first, big opportunity I thought I was going to have, there were all these like guidelines and terms that like weren't really followed. And, not all terms were met. And it was such a bummer for me. And with Jen and, a couple other projects since then, the ones that I've asked nothing of are the ones who have been the most giving. And I
100%.
think because, I'm, me and my team are really doing a service for them that has really made a difference. And that is a constant reminder to them every day. So anytime they would randomly post, just like, boom, spike in the following. I remember Jen did like hey, she had like random stuff at her house and was just like doing a giveaway and was like, yeah, follow us, follow RíOrganize. And I was like, what? And that was literally Easter time. I remember it was an egg decorating contest and I looked like it just kept growing. And my husband, he still has a little note in his wallet of the number of Instagram followers I had right when that project started, because he knew that we were always going to look back at that number and be like, this is so cool. Yeah. And obviously like Instagram, it's almost like a second business. And so I ran my Instagram up until just about 100K. And I just brought on a social girl in January who has been a godsend, just for the sake of like, there's so much more, like just like throwing out the tips and stuff like that. Having somebody who can turn visuals, just like, hey, let's give tips on this. Here are my tips. Boom. There's like graphics for it, because that takes forever. And
it takes a lot of time.
Doing 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So
it's and I'm not, again, I put out content not as much as you do, and I don't have as big of a following as you do, but I stay pretty active on Instagram. But if you're actually in Canva or in the places putting on the text on the pictures and actually trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing, it takes a lot of time and it's just really tedious. And you want to
touch the wrong thing.
100%. You don't want to outsource your brand. It's not like you're trying to put off when people engage with you, you want it to be you because that's you. But at the same time, there is the work behind the scenes of just putting the text onto the picture and then posting the picture with the hashtag. And that takes a lot of time. It's a lot of tedious work.
It does. And DMs, no one touches my DMs. Like that is me.
Right.
And I love talking. There are people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm following you since like 2,000 followers. And like, we have all these little side conversations that I try to get back to every single person, which is so important to me, but it takes so long.
It does. It 100% does. Yeah. And then you have to organize houses in the meantime. There is that whole thing that you actually have the work to do as well.
Exactly.
So getting into that, the shelter in place that we're under right now, we're both in California. How has that impacted your daily business, your life, right? Like how have you, I don't know what services you offered before that you maybe can't now, or what you've layered on and merged now that we're under the shelter in place?
So our main services are in-home organization, unpacking move-ins, really anything under those umbrellas. And obviously those are all things that cannot be done right now. So there's definitely had to be some pivoting, on the business side. I've had more opportunity to do things like this, to collaborate with different brands, people wanting to put content out there to help people. Because no matter what your brand or your product or your company is, all of your clients are doing the exact same thing.
100%.
And lucky for me, everybody's just surrounded by all of their chaos and clutter all day long. And so organization is actually really in the forefront of people's minds, right? Which has kept, engagement steady and growth steady. Like, I haven't hit this plateau because of the content that we're putting out there. It's so necessary right now. So like a business and collaboration and partnership standpoint, it's it's opened up more doors. From a in client's home standpoint, it's completely shut those, literally and figuratively.
I see what you did there.
We used to offer virtual services and had to stop just because it was me doing them and there was no time at all. So that's something that I've started to do more during this time. You know, for anybody that's interested in it, it's basically, you know, we do a FaceTime, and then I give an execution plan and a suggested shopping list, and just a way for you to be able to tackle this and just have some sort of sense on what that should look like, you know, how to go about it. And, you know, so many people, they need little actionable tips right now. You know, 100%. Product isn't super accessible. And if you have that motivation to do it, you can't be like, oh, well, you know, order a product and it'll be here in 3 weeks. And like, you want to act on it. If you're ready to do it, like, you want to be able to physically do things, because it does just keep going. Like, you stay motivated. If you tackle a junk drawer and then you feel so good about it, everything else you open that doesn't look amazing, you're like, okay, now I have to do this. Now I have to do this. And it keeps you busy, and it's all productive, good stuff. Speaking
of, what is something that what would be a tip? I mean, because everybody in California and probably around the country right now are stuck in their houses. What is something that doesn't take a professional, that my wife or Joe across the street can do right now in their house, that would help to start them down that path? Where then, would it be the junk drawer that would then spark the bathroom, that would then spark that? What is 1 or 2 tips that someone can do right now without having to order product? There are definitely a couple of no product needed things. And I guess I'll start by saying, no matter what area you start with, your whole goal at the end of all of this is to know your inventory. I don't care if you don't get rid of anything, but if you know everything you have and you have it for a reason, that's what matters. And I feel like so many people think like, oh, you know, professional organizers, they just want you to throw everything away and be a minimalist. I don't care. I don't care if you have a million tchotchkes that have, you know, a front row space on shelves that you get to enjoy and look at that make you happy. That's wonderful. It's if you have a million tchotchkes that are in a box because they're from, you know, your great aunt Bertha, and you don't know what to do with them. It's like, okay, then let's ask ourselves some questions. Let's address this. Correct. So it's just knowing everything you have, and definitely knowing your pace. You know, there are going to be people who, you know, don't have kids or have older kids. It's like, you know what? I have freaking 10 hours right now. We're just going to go totally nuts on this closet. Yeah. And we're going to empty everything and go for it. But that might be super overwhelming for some people. So I always suggest starting with a space that isn't sentimental. Yeah. You know, junk drawer, laundry room, your kitchen items, which, I mean, some people are sentimental about things like spatulas and things like that. No, I get you. Yeah. No, I get you. But like something in the kitchen that's so easy to do, checking expiration dates. That's such a guiltless way of tossing things. Yeah. Like, it's expired. Bye. I just want to make sure my wife is still watching this, just checking, because the expiration date thing is a thing in our household. So, all right, carry on. So my husband does not believe in expiration dates. No, my wife doesn't believe in expiration dates. Yeah. So you and I are the same. It's wild to me. The same. Yeah. She's like, oh, it's okay. I think it's all right. Like, it's just a couple of days. No big deal. Yeah. Like, smell it, whatever. Or like, oh, it's just a way for us to keep buying it. I'm like, hey, tell yourself whatever. I started to get more about expiration dates after kids. I'm like, I didn't realize. Like, oh, only 7 days refrigerated. Like, we're going on like a year. This is a problem. So funny. So getting rid of expired items, and just like, if, you know, doing your fridge, you know, basically the main steps that I would tell you to take care of all your space, take care of any of your spaces, are going to be the same. The approach is always the same. The space is different. And it always starts by emptying it 100%. Got it. That's the easiest way. Okay. Honestly, because you have to start with the blank canvas, because the whole layout could be wrong. Right. And so if you're just like, oh, let me just do this little shelf in the fridge, or this, or, you know, this drawer in my closet, that's not really helping anything. So to really empty everything, and you want to be looking at item by item. Like, it sounds sillier when you're talking about your fridge, like your mustard and your jelly and whatever. But honestly, like, there might be something like, okay, yeah, this is super random. I got this for like this, like, you know, new Thai meal I was trying 6 months ago, and I really will never use this again. It doesn't need to be taking up space. Yeah. And so emptying everything completely,
looking at each of your items and asking yourself the necessary questions. So like in a closet, does it fit me? Do I like it? I mean, really, if there's a hesitation, it's gone.
Yeah.
That's the way I approach it.
That's good.
You know, when people are like, I'm like, you've spoken.
Yeah, that's actually really good, because I'll do that too, and I'll be like, oh, I really like it, but it doesn't fit as well, but maybe I'll lose the weight and then get back into it, and then I justify why I should keep it.
It's over. It's
oh,
like,
that's good. That's good advice.
And the only people I give some wiggle room to is women who have just had a baby. Or
Well,
women
for
who
sure.
are going to have a baby. And that's because like that is the only time to really have multiple sizes and just
For sure. Yeah.
You're like, you just need anything that fits. Who cares? There's going to be different sizes. There is a size you're going to get back to. And so that's the only time where I'm like, okay, let's keep a little window. But
yeah,
honestly, like people where it's like, okay, I want to be able to fit in this or this or this or this. Just how about like reward yourself by actually getting to that point and going and buying something new.
Correct.
You know, and it's people just feel so guilty getting rid of stuff that costs things. But if you know, like, you know, just give yourself that big okay to be like, this is my giant reset. I know I spent ridiculous money on this. I know I'm never going to wear it. I know it's not going to increase value by just hanging here.
Yeah.
So let me give it away.
Yeah.
Give it, somebody will wear it, enjoy it, use it. It's not going to be me. And that's okay.
Good. That's good. And I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're kind of up against it. So maybe we'll make this
somewhere to be soon.
The last question. Oh, you're locked up. I don't know. You have another.
No, I'm totally joking. No,
okay.
I appreciate it.
When does someone bridge the gap from, okay, I can do this myself with the junk drawer and then the bedroom, into I need to call Ria? Like, where does that happen?
I would say the biggest thing is time. It's more often than not that clients simply don't have the time or don't want to use their time to do that. And so that's the biggest thing that you're buying with us is your own time back.
Yep.
Because things can take a long time. I mean, especially when you don't have 10 hours to tackle your closet and you are having to kind of piecemeal it. I mean, and think of any time you've moved and unpacked and it probably wasn't done in 3 days where everything was perfectly where it was. And, you know, we get to go in the day after boxes are there, unpack a family to where their first night, they're not moving in, they're home.
Yeah.
And that's so, I mean, just like think of like the weight that takes off of you.
Big time.
So it's been the time, I would say, is the biggest thing. Or people who are like, I just don't know how to create an organized space. And if someone does it, I can maintain it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people kind of hit roadblocks. Or we have the, hey, my spouse just won't get on board with this. Like they almost need the mediator.
Yeah.
I'm like, blame it on me. Like, oh,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, for sure. No, that's perfect.
A lot of times there really is, you know, contention between spouses when it comes to these sort of things.
Yeah.
We've seen some blow ups. It's usually you have one that's totally purge happy and one that can't get rid of anything. And so a lot of times it's our job to come in and kind of help them find a happy medium where everybody feels happy and feels like they can maintain the space but kept the things they want to keep.
Yeah, it's really good advice. There's one, I want to give everybody a chance to find out exactly what services you offer and how they can get a hold of you. But the one question that I want to sneak in there is that I noticed yesterday when I was doing some Oppo research that you started a TikTok.
Yes.
And so you have a monster following on Instagram. You're running a thriving business. And now I don't know if this is a shelter and home project that now you downloaded TikTok, or if this is actually a business move, like to move some of the eyes over to TikTok. But tell me about that. Like, I'm also on TikTok. I don't necessarily know what it is yet. I'm spending all my time learning and watching this stuff go on. But
so much to learn. So
it is.
Your question, this is definitely a stay at home. Like that's what started this whole thing.
Okay.
Like it was just one of those where anytime I would kind of look, like I downloaded it a while ago.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, this could be cool to incorporate some things. But I just was like, okay, I'm not there yet. It's like there's always this like whole list of things to tackle. And I just kept pushing TikTok to the bottom.
Yep.
But then being here, you obviously, I mean, with any business, we have to pivot.
Correct.
With what's going on. And because TikTok now has such an older demographic joining, it's not all 15-year-olds.
Correct.
There's much more opportunity for, you know, fun organization content. I mean, there already is so much organization content, which is so crazy. There are people with thousands and thousands of TikTok followers who have 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Correct. Yeah.
So now I'm in like this new space where I'm totally intimidated. I'm like, yes, I hit 40. Like, all right. It's so interesting. And I'm really trying to learn it. And I think just like with anything, you just have to go all in. It's like, okay, if I'm going to start a TikTok, let's just do it. And let's be goofy. It's a way for people to see kind of a raw, less edited form of myself.
100%. And it's a situation where we don't know, we can't be, as business people, we can't be romantic about how we make our money, right? And so like if we were romantic about how we made our money, we'd still be running newspaper ads and bus benches and stuff like that. But it shifted to the internet 10 or 15 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, it shifted to Instagram and Facebook. And now it looks like it might be shifting to TikTok and or Instagram stories, like more short form, vertical, funny stuff. And whether or not we like the way that it's moving, we have to correct 100% as a business person. You have to not be romantic about how you used to make your money, and you have to adjust to what the new reality is. That doesn't mean you go necessarily like embarrass yourself or do things. You find a way to make organization fit and your personality fit in the new medium, but you have to be able to anticipate where, in hockey, it's a skate where the puck is going. Like you need to figure out where people are going. And I think that's awesome that you've now taken this opportunity while we have to stay at home to jump on and try out TikTok and see what it is and how you can use it to grow your business. I think it was a great pivot.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm excited about it. And I think that there's some fun content. Obviously there's so much to learn. I'm like, oh, like splicing, transitioning. I'm like, no wonder these people make a ton of money from doing this, because this is a ton of work.
It is.
People doing out 5 videos a day. I'm like, okay, this took me a ridiculous long time to edit. Like a file folding and putting it to music. I'm like, how are they making it all add up? And so it's fun because I think it's just a way that, I don't have to take myself as seriously, and I can put that out there. And, you and I are the same in that we're in industries where there's a ton of people like us.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Your Instagram, you incorporating different, series or podcasts or interviews, that's setting you apart from an Instagram that just has a bunch of pretty houses.
Correct.
And it like, why would people follow you or over thousands of other realtors?
100%.
Where if you're offering something that's more than just your demographic and your client base, like that's so beneficial. For people on the other side of the US be like, I follow this dude in San Diego.
Correct.
Great.
And that's the thing, is anybody can put out pictures of beautiful houses or organized closets, but in service business especially, they work with us. They work with Ria and they work with Jason. And so we have to be able to put ourselves out there in a form that can be found so we can connect on a personal level. And again, TikTok, I keep coming back to TikTok and some other interviews I've done too. It may not necessarily even be TikTok that takes off. That might crash, and burn next year, but the skills that we learned on the short form video editing might be the key to LinkedIn's new story platform that becomes the new Facebook in 5 years. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it might not even be TikTok. I'm just going where the eyes are right now.
And knowing, like, paying attention to the content that's really grabbing people. Like, I'll see ones where I'm like, how does this have 3.2 million views? And I'm like, this is so simple and quick. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
To where I'm like, there's a certain point where if you just stop thinking and you just trust what you're putting out there, eventually something just sticks. And from what I've noticed with TikTok, it's super interesting in that, like, the followers doesn't necessarily mirror the views.
Correct.
Someone can have, this went viral for 8 million, but they have like 60 followers. I'm like, this is like, I'm trying to learn it and understand the algorithm. And it's another way to create content for our other platforms.
Correct.
I put TikTok in my story.
Yep.
So, and I had, way more views on that than I did on TikTok, but I still have it on TikTok in case, that can get views too. So just kind of being able to have this whole, all of this, like, if you have a Twitter and you're putting funny stuff, screenshotting that, putting it as your Instagram, it all keeps going.
Very much. Yeah. You can repurpose the content everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it.
Every time I have my phone, I'm just like, content
all the time. Kat, that's it. It's on my office wall. It's CATT, content all the time. It's just a reminder to like consistently be putting out content, but something valuable, educational, funny, like not just content for the sake of content, something that's actually value add to your client base.
That's the biggest thing. And one of the best tips I got in regards to my Instagram was not to always just have some like cheesy whatever, like, oh my gosh, so beautiful, what, like, just like, you know, showing off our work, but giving something actionable.
Big time.
Like, what's the takeaway versus just like pretty, but it's like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? Okay, here's how I do it.
Yeah.
And really putting more context to what you're talking about, and almost like someone said, almost thinking of it as a micro blog within each of your posts.
100%. Yeah. And the caption matters and the story behind it matters. There's so much more to than just the picture. The picture of the organized kitchen is great and it's aesthetically pleasing, but the picture of the organized kitchen with you telling us that Jane called you because she had 3 kids and she was pulling her hair out. She called you to come help, and then you were able to help her. And with that, she was able to give the free time to take her kids out. Like, the story behind the caption is everything.
And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm Jane. Or when we show before, they're like, excuse me, that's my pantry. Like, all the time.
That's it.
That's what people appreciate.
Yes.
So it's cool to like learn your audience, and just, it's all weird. I just feel like the world we live in is so weird. Like, the job I have is so cool but crazy. Yeah. You know, like, you know, talking with like different like companies, like, oh, you know, try our product, whatever. Like, okay, can you do an Instagram post? I'm like, this is crazy. It is. It's wild, right? My wife was watching Cardi B talk to Bernie Sanders on Instagram Live yesterday. And then she kind of like looked and she's like, isn't this world like wild? Like the world we're living, what is happening right now? But that's literally how information gets passed along, is a Cardi B and Bernie Sanders interview. I think Dr. Fauci was on Snapchat yesterday talking about, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild that this is the world we live in, but that's the world we live in. Again, you can't get romantic about how things used to be. You have to adapt and live in 2020 and beyond. And people just have a short attention span, and they like visuals. And I feel like, yeah, as long as you just keep figuring out what people want, and, you know, there's going to be duds that you put out there, and if you'll know, like, okay, big time. Well, next time. 100% trial and error. Yep. I put out so many dud content, you know, so many dud posts and things like that, that you find what really works, and then you start to produce that out. It's how you learn. Exactly. So this has been rad. I love the fact that we just deep dived into the business side of Instagram and TikTok, as well as the organization side that you put out. I'm really excited because you're in Orange County, but you also go to LA and San Diego. So, right? Do you work elsewhere? Anywhere people want to fly us to. We just had a project in Jackson Hole in March, right before all of this chaos. So we technically service anywhere, but yeah, our main markets are Orange County, LA, and then San Diego. At the beginning of this year, I really made a push to like make it more of a thing that we offer services down there. So we've started to move down there more, which has been great. And that drive is like a dream. It's a dream. It's so nice. You're like by the ocean. I'm the like blasting my old like early 2000s music. I love it. It's like night and day from driving up to LA, 100%. Yeah. So I will give that to San Diego all day long. So we service anywhere. We do pretty much anything under the organization umbrella. We have a team of 7 and are able to do, pretty large scale jobs. We have a 20,000 square foot house in a couple weeks. Wow. Very excited about. Yeah. You need the whole team for that. Is too big for us. Good. And then we have virtual services that, I'm kind of taking them on as I can during this time. Obviously, like, we're going to get busier again, and those are going to be harder to do, but whoever I can help during this time, I'm super trying to make that happen. And then on the whole business note, I feel like this is such a perfect segue, actually, and I haven't even like said this anywhere, exclusive. Oh, Jason. Breaking news, exclusive on Instagram. Yeah, this is totally exclusive. So I am actually working on, I don't even know if I'm calling it a course or what it's going to be, but it's for the aspiring home organizer. It's the business side of things. Oh, I like this. Okay. It's everything I did, everything I screwed up on, everything that worked amazing. From the, should I start this business to how I got it here. That's, yeah. Obviously we get a ton of questions about organization all day long, but that has been such a popular thing. And as I'm preparing all this content to roll it out, I'm realizing it kind of applies to any entrepreneur starting anything. How should I price my services? How do I engage with clients? What should my email sound like? All those things that all of us are doing. And it kind of seemed like a a perfect time to try to work on this. So that is what is currently underway, and I'm really hoping to get it out in May, but we will see.
For the 41 people, still watching, I would 1000% recommend that, not just as you're like trying to be a home organizer like Ria did, you know, the part-time, need target money, and then it turned into a business. But if you're an entrepreneur at all, I would probably recommend getting this class, because everything she's talked about so far translates into just about every small business situation. From starting the Instagram to using influencer marketing to grow the Instagram. So when this course comes out, you're going to get my high recommendation to go buy this course, not just from the home organization side, but from any entrepreneur or any small business, because it was it was great tips. There is a comment, how much is it going to be? Are you that far along?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm seeing that. No, I'm not that far along yet, but I promise. So the one thing I'm waiting on is my cool like white screen that I'm going to have behind me, so that videos can be extra perfect. I have my ring light already.
Yeah, I can tell. You're way more. Your lighting is so much better than mine. I'm turned the wrong way.
I'm such an influencer right now. I know.
You are.
I feel so. The lighting in my house is garbage. This whole place. Is
do you have fit tea that you should be drinking, like on the side, or like teeth whitening that you could be doing?
Oh my gosh, hilarious. No, but I do have Bixby coffee, who I've been plugging everywhere I can because I'm just obsessed with this coffee. They're up in LA.
Shout out Bixby Coffee.
Shout out Bixby Coffee. So delicious, and the content they put out is stinking hilarious. They do like TV spoofs. Yeah, the guy is an actor, so it's like actor turned coffee entrepreneur. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Anyways,
I'm gonna go follow him after this.
But yeah, I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee already. I'm a coffee addict.
Are you? I usually drink 2 in the morning.
2 cups a day since I was 14.
Really?
2 cups a day. Easily.
Oh my goodness. I would see through walls if I drank 3 coffee.
What?
I said I would see through walls if I had 3 cups of coffee every day. Like, that's wild.
No, I can have coffee and then go to sleep.
Really?
I don't even think it does anything for me.
Yeah.
It's really it's like oxygen at this point.
It's just a placeholder.
I just need it to function.
Honestly, this is probably the best Instagram live I've ever done in my life. And so, yeah, I think it was fantastic. Thank you so much. If someone wanted to follow you or find you to hire you for your services, how would they go about it?
Oh, at RíOrganize, R-I, play on my name, Ria.
I see what you did there.
I know. It worked out. I'm like, Mom and Dad, kudos to you.
Because
the name kind of works for everything. So at RíOrganize, it's also at RíOrganize on TikTok. We're on Facebook, but it's kind of just like an extension of Instagram. So Instagram is where all the goods are. As far as like anything about the class or course or videos or whatever we're going to be calling it coming out, as we get more information, I mean, we're just going to be posting that like crazy. And, you know, as soon as that's available, I'll let you know too. And obviously we're available for home organization. Right now, we're just kind of having to roll with the punches of whatever's happening out there. And so, I mean, everything is completely booked up. It just keeps having to push. So hopefully we eventually get the green light to get back into our clients' homes and be able to tackle projects. And we'd love to add more people to it. And especially, I mean, one of our biggest resources is a realtor.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the followers on my page are real estate agents. So I mean, I was thinking the entire time, like I can think of like 4 or 5 people that could really use this type of service.
100%, whether it's people you already know and it's their existing space, whether it's people who are about to move and it's unpacking and setting up organizational systems to streamline them from the get-go. And the one thing for people who reach out early enough before a move, I talk about the Pre Move Purge, to where we have even just like 1 or 2 of us go over and we're going through everything. So you're only bringing what you should be bringing to your new house. And I feel like people who do the Pre Move Purge, it's that much easier to set things up when they move.
That's
that's a super crucial component that I feel like is missed a lot. Because if you're unpacking and having to go through stuff, mostly you're like, oh, I'll do this another time. And it never happens. And you live somewhere for 5 years.
You know what I think would be really helpful, and this is now spitballing for the 32 people still watching. Sorry, you're going to get some one-on-one between me and Ria. I think having something like that I can add to my listing presentation, that would actually be really helpful, that I can bring to my client when we're going to talk about selling their house. That says, hey, I actually work with this professional organizer. Here's the list of things that's called the Pre Move Purge. We're going to call it the pre-sale purge or whatever. And then and then on the back end, we could offer the services too. Be like, hey, either you take care of these 5 things, or you bring in Ria and she'll take care of it for you. I think that'd be really helpful to put that onto.
I mean, I worked with people to where it's like, hey, you know, let's, you know, for the month of this, let's offer a discount with our services and anybody who you're selling a home to. Or there are so many cool relationships and ways to leverage other people.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in people's homes all the time who are talking about moving or thinking about moving. Like, I know a realtor. That's so great. Or, you know, you're in people's spaces and having to stage. And I mean, that's another thing we've done too, obviously, is, or not obviously, I don't even know why I said that. Another thing we do is staging homes for moves, but like making sense of that.
Do you use their own furniture probably, right? Or you don't bring in furniture?
Yeah, I don't mess with anything furniture. It's more like, hey, you don't have to lock this pantry door or the closet. You can leave it open because it looks like a stinking dream, and people are going to want to picture them in the whole space.
Yep.
And so, you know, having the canisters, having baskets in the closets. I mean, there's just, I mean, you know, there's ways to just elevate things. And when people can see how a weird, awkward, small closet can actually be used efficiently, it's not so scary for them to think about having it.
100%. It's like inside the home curb appeal, like just doing stuff like that, where if you can leave your cabinets open and show off a pantry, you're just improving the sale price of the home. You know what I mean? Like by doing something as little as organizing with some clear containers or something.
Yes. Like it's amazing what you can do to a space with a ton of product or not as much product. And it's fun to have a lot of different ways that we can benefit other people and apply our services. And, you know, I've just been able to meet so many cool people like you. This has been awesome. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Ria, you're welcome on my Instagram Live anytime. And I really look forward to hopefully doing some deals together, because I would love to have you come down, look at a couple of my seller situations, and then come in and get to work.
That would be amazing. I'm here for it.
Thank you so much for your time today. Good luck with your 3 kids back in your shelter in place.
Thank you.
And your situation. And I saw a lot of questions kind of coming through as we were going, so I'm going to jump in and try to answer them, but they're probably all for you. So just jump in. You might have some answers or some questions to answer down in the comments afterwards.
Heard Pre Move Purging. Someone's Pre Move Purging. Amazing. Oh, Beauty Blender. That was such a fun live.
See, you've got a ton.
Yay, starting their own business. Hello.
Bingo. I'm going to let you go. So jump into those comments and answer those if they're relevant. But thank you guys for tuning in. Ria, thank you so much.
Thank you,
stay safe out there.
I'm so thankful to your wife who told you.
Yeah, she did. I think I told you this before, but I was like, hey, I need an organizer / design stager. And that's funny that's how my brain thought, was that organizing and design staging are like the same. And she's like, oh, you have to follow Ria. And so it was like it was a no-brainer situation. She just sent me over your profile. So she's a big fan. She's a big fan.
Yay, thank you to your wife.
Yeah, of course. Bye. Very nice to meet you.
Bye. Nice to meet you too.
Bye.